Good morning, world. Today is Tuesday, not Wednesday. So, if you're seeing my face today, something ignorant has happened again in the world, and I have to address it. Now, don't get anything twisted or anything like that. I'm not saying that one situation outweighs another situation by any means necessary. Sin is sin, evil is evil. That's all there is to it. But this situation is something that, of course, has been going on for so many years. And it's not getting any better. It's like we're in a time loop. And I know a lot of people, you're going to say, this thing has happened. This has been going on for years, and it has. It has. But now, with all the different elements we have in the world, such as social media, we have to be constantly reminded and brainwashed over only negative situations. And it's funny to me because I see other negative stuff going on, but it's nowhere near how black people are persecuted. And I say that because of this. Mr. Terrence Crutcher was killed, another unarmed black man that was killed. And it's a lot of stuff that have been going on here recently. It's been a little bit, I guess, more publicized because, everything's caught on camera these days. So they kind of have to publicize it or whatever the case may be. And trust me, I know it's some stories that don't even make the news that we don't even really hear about. But, this is kind of crazy to me because last night, before I knew Mr. Crutcher was murdered, I was watching the news and I was looking at the guy who just bombed or who's connected to the bombings in New York. And this is before I found out that Mr. Terrence's life was taken from him. And I was sitting in the bed and I couldn't help but think, like, how is it possible that a terrorist, somebody who may either be American or someone who is not American at all, how is it possible that a person bombs a certain area, then has a shootout, not let me shoot the gun in the air, not let me put you on a high-speed chase, but a shootout with the cops. Got hit one time, but they knew, hey, we're not going to kill this person. We're just going to lay him down real quick. Lay him down, capture him, and I'm pretty sure, we want to interview him and see, what else is going on and blah, blah, blah. What I don't understand is, how is it that a black man who's born here, whose family, parents, grandparents, great-grandparents were born here, or great-great-grandparents were brought over here against their will and forced into slavery, how is it possible that every time, and it might not be every single time, but let's say 70% of the time, 75%. How come 75% of the time, when there are other races that have done I'm talking about extremely wrong stuff, killing people, eating people's faces off, going into a church, murdering, tens and 20, just murdering people. How is it possible? And I wish I could get feedback. I should have did this on Facebook Live. But how is it possible that those people, and I'm not saying you should shoot, you should kill anybody. I'm not saying that. So let's not get it twisted. Y'all know how I am. But I just want to understand it, because I don't see how a person can bring terror, if you will, to a country and then get into a shootout with the cops and the cops don't immediately kill him. But if it's a black guy, no matter what he's doing, on the corner selling CDs, driving in the car and gets pulled over, walking, changing a tire, how is it possible? Unarmed. How is it possible that instead of even trying to see what's going on, you shoot this man dead? I don't understand the disconnect here, but from what I remember, from what history has taught us, and the things that history is trying to blur now, but from what history has taught us, black people are Americans. And I say that because of this. When you're brought from your home country and enslaved on a ship, years and years and years and years enslaved, and then after a while you get set free, slavery is abolished. It's, black people are free now. Not so much. Fight for, rights to vote, fight for a right to sit down somewhere on the bus, fight for a right to speak, period, just to have a voice, period. Fight for all those rights. And now we're not at the point to where we were stolen from somewhere. We're at the point to where offsprings have come, the slaves that were brought over here, of course, start having babies. So these babies now are born in America, so they're American. You feel me? They're American. Even though the circumstances is completely dirty, evil, nasty, any other negative word that you can think of when you think about somebody going somewhere, uprooting a people from their country and bringing them somewhere else, chaining them up, making them do various amounts of hard work. But their children end up becoming American. Now, terrorists usually are people who are not from America. That's usually what it is. It's somebody who has a threat against a country. Terrorism. So these people are not American, and their lives are spared. So we can question them, try and figure out what's going on. Okay. Let's not even talk about un-American people now. But that's the main point. But let's talk about Americans. White American, somebody can go crazy, shoot up a movie theater, cops find them. Oh, we're not gonna kill him, we're gonna take him in peacefully. He's crazy. Crazy. That's all it is to it. He's crazy. He's not fit to be on trial, blah, blah, blah. Or this dude just went into a black church and killed a whole bunch of people. He says he's hungry. Let's take this boy to Burger King before we take him to jail. What the fuck is that shit about? It's mind-blowing. But check this out, though. Someone who else is also American, who's been here, their whole life. Parents have been here their whole life. And now they have children who are supposedly going to be here their whole life. And you're in a helicopter and you look down and say that he looks like a bad person. He could be a threat. Number one, pretty sure the helicopters are pretty high up in the air. And I know that it's cameras and technology that can zoom in on a person. But I don't see how you can automatically judge somebody just by the look of them. And we all know what it really is. It's because of the color of his skin. And label him a bad person. Now, you label him a bad person, cops come. What does this person do? This person puts his hands up. You know what I'm saying? Startled. Guns are drawn. You know what I'm saying? He's startled, which every sane person would be. If a cop pulls you over, you know what I'm saying? If you got the wrong complexion to your nature, you nervous. Point blank period. Everything that's been going on, things that were going on when we were kids, I'm talking about my generation, we getting slayed in the streets, but we weren't, we didn't really know too much about it. So, of course, what I'm saying, as kids, we're not paying attention to it like talking about. But this right here is so ignorant and crazy, and it just keeps happening. And yes, I do have to compare the two because, well, we've been fighting terrorism publicly for about 16 years, a little bit longer, really publicly. And I'm talking about from where I've noticed, what I'm saying, for real. After 9/11, high terror alert, we're on it. And of course, that's understandable. But for you to constantly keep taking the lives of Americans, African Americans, excuse me, in cold blood, and we're all supposed to be American, I'm not quite understanding it, and it's not adding up to me, especially when you see somebody doing something, you catch them doing it. You know what I'm saying? You can catch them with their hand in the cookie jar. And if they got the right pigmentation, go and grab your cookie out of there, eat it. We go take you downtown and question you real quick. Black man, cookie in the cookie jar, shot in the head. Wait a minute, that was his cookie jar. But he was a threat, though. Don't forget, he looked like a threat. Even though his hand is in the cookie jar. Now, not taking light to any of the situations, just using analogies, because I do that a lot. I use analogies in my midweek pickups. But it's something wrong right there, period. I'm tired of it. It's going to keep happening. I don't understand how somebody can take a stand in this country and the whole country is up and roar mad just because somebody won't stand during the national anthem, when there are people in Senate that when the national anthem comes on or the pledge comes on, they don't even stand up, and they're our representatives. But you want to single out a football player because he's trying to take a stance, because people are getting treated unjustly. It's the biggest hypocritical thing. But then when you live here and you're of this pigmentation, you are black, you are a male. I mean, it's not even just the males no more. The females, they get it too. But it's like our shackles, the slavery shackles were taken off. But we're still slaves. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we could do a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? We can, they let us vote. We can get jobs, and some of us have very good paying jobs. We can get education now, which is not really looked upon as great. But we can do that now. I don't know if I said it. We can vote. We can go out and buy a house, a car. But when you really look at the big picture, we always got some kind of penalty against us. Banks don't want to loan to us because, especially if we small business owners, they don't want to loan to us because they don't want us to start making our own money. And, yeah, we can vote, but, most of the time we only vote when it's a big stage. We're not voting in our community. So, I guess they can try and blame that on us too, or whatever the case may be. But the real thing about it is that now, whether you want to say it or not, or whether you agree or not, and I know it's going to be people who don't agree. I don't care. Everybody got their own opinions. These are my opinions, so I'm going to stand by my opinions. You can stand by your opinion. You can comment on it. Say whatever you want to say. I don't care, because my voice isn't going to change on this. But when it comes down to people becoming an endangered species, that's when eyebrows should be raised. Not time to go and riot and destroy our own stuff or nothing like that. We need to come together, because pretty soon it's just gonna be like we go get lined up in a firing squad, and they go come by one and shoot each one of us in the head, because we're not understanding what we really have to do to make a change because we're pissed off. And they're doing it on purpose because they know it's going to piss us off. So they want the reaction. They really want us to go out and riot and destroy so they can shine a light back. Oh, look at them. They're out there destroying their own communities. They don't have any sense. They don't care about life, and the mix up in that message, or the subliminal message, if you will, about that is they're out there rioting, acting ignorant, and destroying their own communities or whatever. So they don't care about life. So it's cool that we're going out here killing them. That's the message that's really coming across. Of course, they're not going to say it. Mr. Crutcher's life is they're going to come up with some type of story to make the cops, justify it. And then the cops will get a paid vacation, and then we won't hear about the cops no more for 2 months, because after that, they'll be back at work, and then it'll just happen all over again with some other black male in the streets or whatever. But an endangered species is a species of animal or plant that is severely at risk for extinction. That's what we are now. We are endangered. It was a report on the news. A report on the news Monday. And it said that a guy, a cop shot himself, I guess, trying to get at a suspect or whatever. Suspect has a black Honda. For me to automatically think, hey, I don't need to drive my black Honda today because I'm at risk of fitting the profile just because it's a car, but then this person could, I don't know what race this person was, could have been white, Chinese, Asian, whatever the case may be, Mexican, Hispanic. That person could have been all of those other things. But if I'm in that area driving, I'm at risk. You know what's wrong with the way that I thought then? Is I shouldn't be thinking this way. Not in the day of age that we're supposed to be in. I shouldn't be thinking like that. I shouldn't have to sit up here and think that if I'm driving with my daughter in my car, I have a great risk of getting pulled over, taken out my car, maybe possibly shot because my car fits the description of somebody else. You know what I'm saying? That's not how we're supposed to think. We're not supposed to be paranoid in our own lives just to go outside in our own country. That makes no fucking sense at all. It makes no sense. But it's the bubble that they have continued to put us in. We can't pop it for some reason. You know what I'm saying? We just make it bigger so more people can get put in the bubble. We need to pop this bubble and figure out a way to stop all the meaningless death, not only of just our communities, but our race, the gender, just everything. We have to figure out how to come together and be so powerful that they won't kill us in the street for no reason. I can understand if somebody's belligerent. I can understand if somebody pulls out a gun. I can understand if somebody shoots first. I can understand all of this. But what I don't understand is when somebody of another race can do those exact things. Shoot somebody while the cops are looking, shoot at the cops, stab somebody, bomb the place, whatever the case may be. I don't understand how that person, and again, life is precious. Every sin is sin. Death, to me, is the ultimate. That's to me. But every sin is the same. Sin is sin. But how do you kill an unarmed person with their family in the car? You know, not even with their family in the car, with it being recorded, with eyes on you everywhere. How is it acceptable in society that a cop can kill a unarmed black man? Unarmed. Even the man with the license to carry. How can you do that and you don't do it to a terrorist who has a gun, who has explosives, who is trying to kill you right there? You'll pull out the taser before you shoot him. But a black dude can't even get out and see what's wrong with his car without being endangered of being murdered. Mind-blowing. But that's where we live. And we've lived in this society forever now. We don't have nowhere to go but America. I mean, truthfully, where else can we go? It's like a worldwide hate almost. It's some, and I'm not saying that everybody hates black people. I'm not saying that. But we trapped here, so we just keep getting killed. Nah. It's not right. Mr. Terrence Crutcher, I pray for you and your family, especially your family. I hate that happened to you. I hate that it happened to every innocent black person, every innocent black male or female that is always judged or stereotyped just by the color of their skin. I pray for each and every one of your families. I pray for everybody who watches my midweek pickups, who has a family, who is endangered. I pray for you because we live in a world today where we don't know what's going to happen next. We really do not. But what's even scarier is we're supposed to be protected by a group, but they killing us off like we worthless animals. So who do we call when we get in trouble? Who's going to really come and care enough to serve and protect? We don't have nobody else. And the only people who are supposed to do this is killing us off. So what are we supposed to do?